Bernat.com. Today we are going to be working on the double treble crochet stitch. It's written as DTR on a pattern, that's its abbreviation. It's a super tall stitch, but really fast to make, so let's get started. So today I'm using Bernat Super Value as my yarn and a 5mm crochet hook, and I've actually already started by having 9 chains that I've already created. And when you work a double treble, you're going to work in the 6th chain from the hook. So we don't count this one as a stitch because that's our working loop. We're actually going to count this as our first one. So if you have your chain facing you so that you have these little sort of V's created, it'll make your life a lot easier. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the stitch I'm actually going to work into, the 6th chain from the hook. Now to start our double treble, we want to wrap the yarn around our hook 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. So I have 1, 2, 3 plus my working loop before I go into my stitch. So here we go, we're going into my stitch, and I'm going to yarn over hook and draw up a loop. So there we go. Now you're going to see I have 5 loops on my hook. And at this point we're just going to keep repeating the same step. We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook and pull through 2 loops. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get all the way to the top of our stitch. So yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops. That's once. Yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, that's twice. Yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, that's 3 times. Yarn over hook and pull through those last 2, that's 4 times. And that's your first double treble. See how nice and tall that stitch is? So now we're going to work our next one. So we've worked into this stitch right here. We're actually going to work into this one right here. So I want to wrap my yarn around the hook 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to insert it into my stitch, wrap my yarn around my hook, and draw up a loop. I have 5 loops on my hook. And now I just want to yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops and keep repeating that till I get all the way to the top of my stitch. So yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, and pull through 2 loops. It's very similar to other stitches you've done. You just keep going until you get all the way to the top of that height of your stitch. So here we go, we're going to work our next stitch. So this is our one we just worked into, so we want to move over and work into this chain right here. So we want to wrap our yarn around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to insert my hook into that loop. I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook and draw up a loop. So if you take a peek at your hook, you've got 5 loops on your hook. Now we're going to yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops, and we're going to repeat that till we get to the top. Yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops. And I know it seems like a lot to memorize at first, but I promise with some practice it'll become much easier for you to remember how to pull through all those stitches. So for a double treble, 1, 2, 3 times around our hook. I'm going to work into this last stitch right here, insert it in, wrap my yarn around my hook, and pull up a loop. 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So there we are. I've created 4 double trebles, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you're going to see is the skip chains that we made actually create another stitch, or what most patterns consider another stitch. So we'll actually count this as 5, even though we've only made 4. So what do we do for the next row? We want to turn our work around like this, and we want to chain 5. Your pattern will tell you, but you want to chain 5 at the beginning of your row, and that's basically because you need to create some height because these stitches are so tall. So to chain, you yarn over hook and pull up a loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your pattern will tell you whether this counts as a stitch or not. If it doesn't count as a stitch, you're actually going to work right into this first stitch here, because we're not going to count this as a stitch. So this is stitch number 1, that's where you'd work. But most often in a pattern, this will count as a stitch. So I'm going to treat my sample like that, and I'm actually going to work into this next stitch. And if you think about that, that's because this chain will correspond with this first stitch, so now I know that my next stitch has to go here. And we're going to work our double treble just like we did for the last row, except when we put in our hook, we're actually going to want to make sure it goes through these 2 bars that run across the top of our stitch. That's considered the front and the back loop. So let's start it so I can show you. We want to wrap our yarn around our hook 3 times. 1, 2, 3, just like we did before. And remember, I'm not working this one because this counts as my stitch. I'm working into this one right here. So I'm going to insert my hook in, and you'll see that both that front and back loop are on my stitch, and I'm going to treat that as 1 when I wrap my yarn around and pull through. So I'm going to actually pull through both of those at once. So now if I look, it's the exact same thing we had as before, and I've got 5 loops on my hook. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook and pull through 2 loops, wrap my yarn around my hook, pull through 2 loops, wrap my yarn around my hook, pull through 2 loops, wrap my yarn around my hook, pull through 2 loops. So that's your next double treble. And I would just continue along here. So this is what a swatch of double trebles looks like. And that's the exact same thing that I just showed you, which is working double trebles, turning our work, and working double trebles together. Now if you look at this swatch and you flip it over, it looks basically the same on both sides, and that's because you're flipping it backwards and forwards. So that's all there is to it, and we'll see you again at Bernat.com.